Hi everyone, in this video I'm going to teach you how to construct a trapezoid and how to find its area and perimeter once you've constructed it. So the first things first, we need to remember what a trapezoid is exactly. A trapezoid is a quadrilateral, which means it has four sides, and opposite sides are parallel to each other. That means that if I draw two straight lines, those two bases are never going to touch each other. Which leads me to the last thing that a trapezoid has. Instead of having just one base length, it has two bases, one of which is always going to be smaller than the other. So in this question, you can see that they're asking me to construct a trapezoid with a big base of 7 centimeters, a small base of 2 centimeters, and a height of 4. Then we want to find out what is its perimeter and its area. So let's start with our construction. Like normal, I'm going to start at the bottom of the page, or not the bottom, but a little bit further down. That way I can work upwards in my construction. And I'm going to draw a big base of 7 centimeters. Let's make sure that it's nice and there we go. So I always start with my big base. I'm going to use a capital B to show my teacher that I understand that I'm writing my big base, and I'm always going to label my big base as well. Now I have to draw my small base and my height, but there's a problem. I know what a trapezoid is supposed to look like. Usually it looks something like this. Sometimes it can look like this as well, right? How am I supposed to get that second base if I don't have a height? So kind of like a triangle, the next step for me to do is to take my set square and to create a 90-degree angle that represents where my base is. So all I do is I move in a little bit. I could do it on the far sides, but I'm going to move in a little bit to show you that that's possible too. And I'm going to draw a construction line up very faintly. That's going to help me make sure I'm creating a 90-degree angle to my base, because always, a polygon's height is 90 degrees to its base. Next step, draw that height of 4 centimeters on that nice 90-degree or perpendicular line. And I draw a dotted line because my height is not going to be a side length of my trapezoid. Okay, so I have a height of exactly 4 centimeters. I have my big base. Now I have to make my small base. So how am I going to do that? Well, just like the rectangle, I need to bring my set square back so that I can create a line that I know is going to be parallel to my big base. And the way to make two lines parallel to each other is to create a line that is perpendicular to my height. So, in other words, if I can create a 90-degree angle here and this line is 90 degrees to my height, then that's going to mean that this line here and this line here are going to be parallel to each other. Okay, so watch what I'll do. I'll start by drawing a construction line. And I can do this on either side, making sure that I'm lining up my set square on my height and having it go through exactly 4 centimeters where it needs to be. So I know that what I'm getting here, make sure I'm even more accurate, what I'm going to be drawing whenever I connect this line is going to be perpendicular to my height line, which is going to be parallel to my big base. And now I need to draw a 2 centimeter line. So anywhere up here, I'm just going to connect my 2 centimeter line. So I'm going to draw nice and dark, 2 centimeters, and I can erase all this excess construction line that I don't need on either side. So now I know that this big base and this small base are parallel to each other. All I need to do is connect the two sides. There we go. So that's my construction of a trapezoid. Now I'm going to find its area and its perimeter. So, okay. Problem is, I can't find my perimeter without my two side lengths, so I'm going to measure and label those two side lengths. Sometimes we call these the legs of our trapezoid, believe it or not. This was 5.6 centimeters. And this is 4.3 centimeters. So to find perimeter, I'm going to add up all four sides. Perimeter is always adding up all of the outside. So I'm going to do 5.6 centimeters plus 2 centimeters plus 4.3 centimeters plus 7 centimeters. I'm always showing my thinking so my teacher knows how I got my answer. I don't have to use long addition to do this. I can use a calculator to add it up, but it's always good to write down your steps so your teacher knows what you did to get your answer. It's more important for us as teachers that we see your thinking than it is seeing your answers. Okay? So my perimeter is going to be 18.9 centimeters. Finding the area of a trapezoid is a little bit different. The formula that I can use is my big base plus my small base in brackets times my height divided by 2. That's one way to think of it. The reason, by the way, that this formula is the way it is because we have two bases that are not the same length. What we need to do is find out what's in between these two measurements. What's in between 7 and 2? In other words, what we're finding is an average. And the way that we find average, if you remember, is we add up all of the numbers that were given and then divide by the total number of numbers. So another way that we can write this area formula is, well, I have to add up my big base and my small base, and then divide by 2 to find the average of the bases. And after that, multiply by height. So either of those is acceptable, and they'll both give you the same answer. So in this case, let's figure that out. I'll use this top formula here. Big base is equal to 7. Small base is 2. So 7 plus 2 times my height of 4 divided by 2. 7 plus 2 is 9 times my height of 4 divided by 2. 9 times 4 is 36 divided by 2, which gives me a final answer of 18 centimeters squared. That is the area of my trapezoid. All right. I hope that was helpful. Now you know how to construct, find the perimeter and the area of a trapezoid.